New Miata, jerks. Look at that. I'm out in the middle of Spin City. This is, I don't know, this is a weird place where people, I don't know, they paint lines on the road and over there too. I don't know what that is. Some crazy, I don't know, some crazy development where they draw lines in a weird pattern on the roads. Anyway, so this is the video that I wanted to make to kind of introduce you to this car, maybe talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing over the next couple of months, and maybe give some reasons as to why. You know, why another Miata? Well, the answer should be obvious, but it's... So anyway, let's take a look at it. All right, so it's a 1993 Miata. It is a very basic Miata. There's only one option on this car, and that we talked about was the power windows that are right there. They both work miraculously. We got roll-up windows. We have no power locks. We have no LSD. We have no anything fancy going on with this car. The wheels are the daisies, and I've been told that if I take these things off, the wheels look a lot cooler. I'm not sure if I want to do that yet or not. Very interesting, and I mentioned this when I was buying the car, and somebody else in one of the videos mentioned, it has what they call the toilet bowl logo. I call it the flame logo, but somebody said it was the toilet logo, and I like that. I like that description so much better. Those didn't come on Miatas until '94, so I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if this has been in an accident, maybe it got a new bumper, I don't know what's going on with it, but this bumper has all the awesome cracks that you get with poorly painted or too thick painted, or I don't know what that's all about, but that's not great. The lights here have a little condensation in them, which tells me that maybe they're aftermarket. Who knows? Coming around here, the car had been sitting outside when I bought it, so I don't know how long it had been sitting outside. The previous owner only had it for about 4 or 5 months or 6 months, he said. I don't really remember what he said, but he didn't have it long. But he did do some work on the car to make it better. Apparently there's a replaced back end on it, and what else was going on? Oh, this trunk lid was, I don't know, either new or painted or something, because it's not quite the same color white as the other things here. This was replaced with a not a new one, but a used one. Oh, we got tires that are literally falling off. This is not good. These tires, I may have to take care of that this weekend or today. But yeah, these tires scare me because those are rotted. Those are bad. So they're 185 6014s. I expect that should be pretty easy to find, either some used tires or some really cheap new tires. The top obviously is aftermarket, and it's kind of a weird top. The window, I don't know if this is a window that's like normal window, but it doesn't seem, I don't know, it seems like it should be higher here, and there should be something like here to bump this, because it's just got a weird shape to it. Anyway, so I always drive my Miatas with the top down, so I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. I may try to be doing some buffing on this car, but that's not really the point of this car. So let's talk about the point of this car. The 90 is almost done. I'm running out of things to do, and one of the last major things to do on the 90 was the dashboard. Now, I had a couple of leads on dashboards for an NA6, and I didn't want to do an NA8 swap. I didn't want to do an NB swap. I wanted an NA6 dashboard to make it stock, to make it look good. And this particular car has a very, very good dashboard. There are no cracks whatsoever. Everything looks beautiful with this dashboard. So this car was basically purchased for its dashboard. And I know that's a ridiculous waste of money because dashboards are only about 150 bucks, but that's if you can find one. I couldn't find one in a reasonable amount of time, so I decided to get a car with my dashboard. Whatever. The floor mats are not terrible, the carpet's not terrible. It's actually even got some of its plastic pins in there. So things are looking okay. Yeah. This is broken right here, but I'm not a big fan of the armrest anyway, and will very likely be redoing these panels like I did in the 90. Okay, so let's talk really briefly about major problems that this car has. One major problem is that it's got 171,000 miles on the motor. So that's a problem because that's a lot of mileage. Now, Jace at Miatas and More just did the timing belt and water pump. I don't know, he said like 2,000 or 3,000 miles ago, which is nice because that's reassuring that the motor's gonna be not gonna break anytime soon. At least let's hope it won't. The guy said he did a compression test and all 4 cylinders were in the 180, 190 range. Now I feel like that's a little high because mostly what I see is 160 around there. So I don't know what's going on with that. This is gonna get a pretty immediate seafoam treatment. It's been reported that when I really gun it, some black smoke comes out of the back. Now that could be carbon buildup, that could be a lot of things. I'm gonna investigate that in the future, but hopefully a seafoam treatment might help with that a bit. There's so much room for activities. The master and slave clutch cylinder has been changed in the last month, which is good. The main problem we have is the power steering. The power steering rack is fucked, and he's talked about some sort of welding that was done with the power steering rack to make it manual steering. And let me just tell you that when you take a regular power steering rack and you make it manual, oof, it's so hard to turn the wheel even at speed. So that's going to be one of the very first things that we do to this car is we're going to get a proper power steering rack and try and see if we can hook power steering back up to it because it's just not going to work the way it is. And if that doesn't work, if I read up and that's not a situation that you can just slap a new one in there and make it work, I don't know, maybe the power steering pump is bad. Who knows what's going on with that, but I may then go to opt for a manual steering rack and at least have a proper manual steering ratio and all that good stuff, because right now it's nearly impossible to turn this car, and that sucks. The other problem is the clutch is absolute garbage, and luckily the kid sold me a replacement clutch with it, knowing that the clutch was garbage. That was kind of part of the deal of buying this car. So there's a clutch in the trunk with a flywheel, and I've got everything that I need to replace the clutch. And that's something I've wanted to do on a Miata for a while now, because I know that my 90 is going to need a new clutch one day, and it's just always a good idea to, I don't know, try things on a car you don't care so much about, just in case you fuck it up to the point where you can't fix it. The paint on this car is okay. I mean, it's basically okay for a 25-year-old car. That's just basically the way that works. And here comes somebody, I'm in trouble, look out. All right, they're gone, we're good. The other interesting thing about this car, and I need to verify this, but in 93, in an NA6, did it come with a trunk release? I don't remember. I don't know anything about that. I know my 95 has a trunk release, but that was an NA8. I know my 95 does not have a trunk release in there, so who knows. Other things. I don't know what this is. What does that do? I'm not sure. So plans for this car is clutch, power steering, and then fun for activities. what's going to happen, hopefully, is I'm either going to just jam I want to jam a cone filter on this and get rid of all that crap, or figure out a way to bypass the MAF. I don't really know how that works. Get rid of the charcoal filter and run a cone filter on the coal side. So that's something that none of us have yet, but would be kind of interesting to do. Oh, one thing I need to immediately do, and that might even be today, is tighten this throttle cable up. And that's really easy to do. You just pull that. So that's something that needs to get done pretty immediately. Okay, so that's basically the car. That's it. So I had a question of what I paid for the car, and I didn't want to answer it then because, I don't know, I just didn't want to answer it then. But I will answer now. I paid $2,000 just straight for this car, and that included the clutch parts. Obviously, I'm going to have to do the install myself, and with the shitty tires and everything. So he was asking $2,200. I negotiated down to $2,000 because of the steering problem and because of the tires being awful. So I'll do another video. I'll do another video maybe even tomorrow to try and talk about, if you're going to be buying a Miata, what you should be looking at, and what is fair market value for Miatas, whatever. I will say that this car has no rust, and it has no rust in the places where you would expect rust, in these rocker panels here, in the rocker panel here, and that's plastic, so that doesn't get rusted. But the wheels just look tarnished. That's not, I don't think that's rust. I think that's just tarnish. And when I was looking underneath, there's no real light under here. I'm not seeing anything, but could be, I don't know. Anyway, so there's another car coming, and I should probably wrap this up anyway. So until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.